The Legend of the Vale has just released the brand new Pirate Legend exclusive voyage which takes you adventuring across the world to restore the power to the Vale of the Ancients. With this update, however, they've raised the Athena level cap to 30. This video is going to be the quickest way to get to Athena 30 following the new update. Okay, so you've just unlocked Athena's Fortune, and now there are 3 voyages for you to choose from, as you level up from 0 to 30, unlocking all the commendations and rewards that you get for being a pirate legend. So let's recap, what are your options when it comes to rewards and Athena quests? First up, you have the brand new Legend of the Vale Voyage. This is a story mission similar to Tall Tales, but it gives loot, taking you across ghost garrisons, haunted islands, and shipwreck graveyards, along with lots of new types of map. The second Athena voyage you have to choose from is an Athena's Run of Thieves Haven. This is a 5-chapter gauntlet in the standard style of a voyage which will send you to Thieves Haven, to a neighbouring island of either Devil's Ridge, Crook's Hollow or Snake Island, back to Thieves Haven, back to a neighbouring island, and then finally back to Thieves Haven again. This voyage is the middle fun of them. It can be very tedious to repeat, but overall it's still generally alright for loot. The final voyage you can choose is the one that's been in the game since launch and by far the most boring, and that is just the standard Athena voyage. This voyage is a mishmash of Order of Souls killing skeletons, delivering Merchant Alliance cargo, and digging up chests, all to then get the one big Athena reward at the end. So now we've had a look at your options, let's take a look at the statistics of them all. Okay, so starting things off with a regular Athena voyage, the Athena voyage takes a hefty 1 to 3 hours to complete, and it's not very entertaining or fun, as it uses basic mechanics, basic base voyages, all the way back from 2018. The loot level is very low, and generally what you'll be wanting to get is the Chest of Legends from it all. You'll get a very low emissary grade from it, and it takes around 3 quests to get you to grade 5, which gives you that juicy 2.5 multiplier. However, it does have Devil's Roar variants, but overall this is a voyage you will not want to be doing, unless you want to waste your time. Next up we have the Athena's Run of Thieves Haven. Now this voyage takes 1 to 2 hours to complete, so slightly shorter, and you get mid to high tier level loot. But the problem with the loot is it varies dramatically. You can get a lot of mermaid gems and not very much Athena loot, as it's based around digging things up, and the tiers are not guaranteed. There's a few small chances like getting a Chest of Legends or extra good loot, and there's a couple guaranteed things, but overall the loot, as I say, can vary quite badly. The emissary grade will get you a mid. It takes around 1.5 quests to get to grade 5, and it doesn't have Devil's Roar variants. Overall, it's an alright choice, but overall, I would much rather do the next quest we're going to be talking about. Okay, so the Legend of the Vale then. This voyage takes around 45 minutes to 1.5 hours to complete. It has extremely high loot level, as it includes a lot of the new Athena loot that was recently added. All of the loot is guaranteed at certain points, such as right at the end is where you'll get the bulk, and each stage will always drop certain amounts of loot. It'll get you to the max emissary grade, and that will be just after you hit stage 2 at least. It could even do it before then. Handing in Veilstone to the Pirate Lord and putting it in gets you a lot of grade. It's replayable and the content changes due to its modular format. It's cinematic story content, and so you'll always be doing different things. So unlike Tall Tales, where it's always the same, albeit fun to replay, this completely changes. However, it doesn't have Devil's Roar variants, but that doesn't really matter. In fact, most of the footage from this video has been from the Legend of the Vale, so as you can see, it is just a really awesome quest. And it also scales with difficulty depending on the crew size that you're on, so it'll be easiest on a sloop and hardest on a galleon. Now there is one other method we haven't talked about, primarily of getting Athena loot, and that's doing Forts of Fortune. Forts of Fortune are really rare forts that there are 18 waves of, consisting of Skeleton Lords, Ashen Lords, and a really hard encounter. They're a complete world event and they don't scale with difficulty, but because of this they're highly contested. The loot is very high and will just about get you to max Athena grade and should get you to max grade in anything else. However, the loot is not guaranteed despite being high, so you could get a lot of bad Athena loot, and it takes a long time, with an average of 3 to 6 hours to complete, but obviously that can vary dramatically depending on how contested it is or how much you struggle with it. The other thing about them is that they're not on demand. You can't just spawn one because they're a world event. So overall, they're a good encounter if they pop up and you want to do some Athena and you're in the mood for something a bit different, but if you want to solidly start grinding out Athena 30, then the Legend of the Veil is the way to go. And for those wondering about Gilded Voyages, whilst they are really good, perhaps even better than the Legend of the Veil, they only come around once a year at Christmas, and you can only buy one of them, so they don't really count, as again they're not on demand, they're not replayable, and they're not overly fun. They do just give a lot of loot, as they're in the style of the basic Athena Voyage. Let's also not forget the Athena Emissary quest, as this is going to be key to the strategy you're going to be talking about in a second. This is the one time per grade quest you get. It takes 30 to 60 minutes to complete, it's very high tier level loot and the islands are all close together, loot is always guaranteed and highly predictable, and it gets you nearly max emissary grade, so you can't loop it. So then, let's move on to the strategy that we're going to be using here. So then, combining the Legend of the Veil and the Athena Emissary quest, whatever boat you're on, you're going to get everyone that can to buy a Legend of the Veil quest. Put the Athena's Emissary flag up and then complete those Legend of the Veil quests. By the end of it, you'll be grade 5. Sell there if you want, but you don't have to, but then collect the Emissary quest. Vote down the flag, and then go do the Emissary quest and you'll be nearly back to grade 5. Then repeat the cycle, buy some more Legend of the Veil Voyages, do those, sell, vote the flag down, get the Athena Emissary quest, etc. It is possible to deviate from this if you wish to keep the grade 5 flag up so you can sell your Emissary quest immediately after. It really doesn't matter because the Legend of the Veil is so good for getting to grade 5. It gets you there literally after, at least as I said before, by stage 2. It can also be varied if you only want to do certain amounts, but for me personally, I sail on a sloop, so I'll get me and my crewmate to buy a voyage, we'll do both of them, and then we'll go sell or pick up the quest, the emissary quest, then go do that, and then sort of just see what we want. But the whole strategy here is to combine the Legend of the Veil with the Athena Emissary quest to maximise this high tier loot. Never do an Athena quest. No matter what anyone says, the regular Athena quests, except the Gilders, are just not worth it at all in the slightest. The Athena's runs are good for a break if you want, but overall I'm personally not a big fan of them. But anyway, that does bring us to the end of this video. Really hope this helped you out, as Athena 30 is going to be an absolute grind. Athena 10 originally was, Athena 20 was, and now Athena 30 will be. But I do believe they've added the best rewards they have yet for Athena, so as players we should hopefully be really motivated to do it, as this quest, as I said, is highly replayable. The Legend of the Veil is such an awesome experience, and it's one of the best updates they've ever added to Sea of Thieves. Not just because of the cinematic elements, but how it all comes together. There's new mechanics in it. It's not always the same, but it's not just little island variations, it's whole module variations, which is why it makes it so good. I'll probably make a separate video on why I love the Legend of the Veil so much, and what this means for the game, as there's been some quite deep story spoilers / explanations within the Legend of the Veil. But anyway, that does bring us to the end of the video, so if you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like, it helps out a ton, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Sea of Thieves news as and when it comes out, because the adventure Lost Sands, it'll be round the corner before we know it, and as Season 7 is on the horizon now, as Season 6 is sort of finished, all the content's done, so we can now begin speculation on what they could possibly be adding in the future. But anyways, apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.